CODAY SAYSO.
Hey y'all, I'm Jarel Jones with an X on the end. But no, I was raised in a single parent home in Cleveland, Ohio. That's where I was born and raised, in Warrensville Heights to be exact, but the greater Cleveland area. And I was raised by my mom. My mom and dad divorced when I was like 3, 4, around that age. You know, I barely remember. And I have an older sister. We're like this. Most of the time when I would stay with my dad, people would think that my older sister was my mom. And I'm really close with both sides of my family. When I came out, my family just embraced me. Nobody really, I mean, if they don't agree with the way I live and what I do and who I am, then they don't voice it to me and they respect me. So that's all that matters. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Okay, period. But yeah, my upbringing was pretty good. I feel like I had a fun childhood. I really didn't have that many friends until high school. I really made most of my friends that are still my bad bitches today. We called ourselves The Crew, which I'm sure every group of best friends does. But yeah, I met them in high school and those girls really held me down, had my back. And I actually went to college with one of my best friends, Shavana, and we moved out to New York City and Brooklyn. Sexual liberation is basically anything that you want to do sexually, you're going to do it. You don't care. You are going to live proudly. If you're somebody that, you know, you're not going to hide. Like, oh, I want to act like I don't have sex in certain settings or certain conversations come up. You're not afraid of taking your conversations about sex out into public with your friends, you know, not being vulgar or anything, but you know what I'm saying? Like, saying, yeah, girl, do you do this with your man? Do you do that with your man? Like, that's being sexually liberated. Like, not making sex taboo. Like, not feeling like sex is some secret thing that only 2 people do together. I'm not saying you got to be out here having group sex by any means. No, I don't do that. Some people do. Get your life. But, and that's sexual, like, that's being a sexual liberal. Like, literally what I just said. Like, that's being a sexual liberal. And if you're sexually liberated and you're being sexually liberating, then you just don't, you don't put too many boundaries on sex. That's it. You don't put boundaries on sex, whether it's talking about sex, what you do while you're having sex, who you have sex with. It's all about preference, but don't put any boundaries on it. Like, that's when you start to make it taboo and you make it like a novelty. Like, sex is sex. Like, sex is like walking down the street. It's literally something that your body does. It's like breathing. Like, don't make a big deal out of it. Your airways are liberated. I discovered my sexuality when I was like, how old was I in 2000? 6 years old. This was right when I turned 6 too. It was the 2000 VMAs when Britney Spears had on the new sequin bodysuit and she had the mic that came around from the side and she was dancing and I'm just like, oh my God. I want to be her. I want to be just like her. I want to be like the dancers up there. I want me a new sparkly sequin suit. So I didn't necessarily know to relate that to being gay, but I knew I was hella different from the rest of the boys. That was like a ludicrous in football. But I pretty much discovered I was gay probably in like, I'd say maybe 6th grade. That's when I was like maybe like what, 12, 13. That's when hormones start producing. And yeah, I realized that I like the boys' locker room. I didn't want to peek in the girls' locker room. There was nothing in there for me. I was happy where I was.
Because we can only do but so much.
I can only talk to my audience. You can only talk to your audience.
No.
Same here.
But what people don't understand is that
you can reach out.
It's the audience of the audience. That's what the fuck we need.
My audience crosses gender, crosses
mine does
sexual
too.
Orientation,
crosses race,
crosses
all
of
right.
it. My whole thing is, every time that I invite friends to events like this that are cis
this
hetero,
is the shit, y'all. They voting upstairs. They voting upstairs.
I'm telling you, I'll hit you up.
every time I invite like any cis hetero people to things like this, they don't come.
They seem
Girl, we moved.
Maybe bug.
We set up our studio.
And
now
I'm like,
finally
show up.
you're not that busy.
You'll
You're
see.
like, you're
You'll
not
see.
that
You'll see.
busy.
I want good
Show
hair,
the fuck
okay?
up for us. Show up.
Oh, girl, I
Because
got you,
you're
girl.
not fucking
Love
doing
you.
this.
We need the allies.
Yes,
We need the allies.
the cis hetero allies.
Yes.
And the ones that claim that they are, bitch, tell the other cis bitches that you are an ally.
Yes. If
Don't
you
tell
really,
me you're an
if
ally.
you really want to be an ally, you better
know you're an ally.
tell
Tell me you're an
friends that they need to
Don't
be
tell
allies.
me, yes, I have a million gay friends, a million trans friends.
That don't matter.
Show us off.
Exactly.
Talk about it.
What you need, girl?
Invade the conversation, be a part of it.
You feel me? Invade the conversation, Mila J. Be a part of that.
Be a part of the solution and not the problem.
Biggest obstacles that I face in today's society, double consciousness. So double consciousness, to explain that a bit more, is like basically going through the world just knowing that people look at you one way. Like people look at you, some people look at you as, oh, look at that faggot, or look at that gay boy doing the most, or look at that boy that wants to be a girl, or some girls looking like, why he wearing makeup, why he wearing all that makeup, that's too much makeup, like just all of this stuff. Another obstacle that I feel like I face in society is definitely access. Like, I feel like when people say that you're a product of your environment, it's way deeper than behavior or characteristics or how you look or how you dress or how you talk or like your dialect or your vernacular. Like, it's way beyond that. It's really more so, if you're from a certain place and you go to certain schools, like basically my high school, Warrensville Heights High School, it was the joke and it was the joke around town that if you went to Warrensville High School, then you basically didn't go to college or you didn't graduate ready to basically write an essay or be able to write a research analysis or do proper research. And that's not the case at all. Now, I'm gonna be real, I really didn't apply myself with like schoolwork and stuff until I got to college. So I ran track, so that's how I got to college. Me and my best friend ran track, but either way, basically, certain schools, like certain colleges, they just won't accept you because they're like, oh, you went to that school. That's access, as being a product of your environment. So I feel like in a lot of ways, being a product of your environment and the access that you're granted to different things in the world that basically can help you move forward in your career, going to a good school, a good accredited school that has a great program. And then, you know, when this is your skin color, you know, and this isn't how I go through life. Like, I don't go through life as being a victim, so I guess that's why it was hard for me to figure this out. But this is just a fact and the truth. If you got a black sounding name, your resume, people can act like that this doesn't happen in today's world. But we see a lot of things on the news that we swore wasn't happening no more, and we see it happening. So when you're a person of color, it's a bit harder to get a job when you're out of college. And mind you, it's hard for anybody to get a job out of college right now. So it just adds that extra layer. You know, you already have 3 things against you. I'm already black. I'm already a black boy. Or a black man, I'm sorry. And I'm already identifying as non-binary, gender fluid, you know, not really like caring about what society says already. So when I show up in an interview, and I always have to show up as myself in the world, like I'm not about to pull down who I am for anybody. So I feel like that's definitely an obstacle that I face in the world, is access to certain things because of people's feelings and whatnot. I overcome adversity by minding my business and getting to this coin, staying on my journey. I tell people all the time, I'm in love with my journey. Like, people look at adversity and the problems in the world and the things that they can't necessarily figure out in the moment and do right now because that's just what they want to do right now and see other people doing right now. You just gotta mind your business. Really figure out, what is it that I'm here to do? Like, what are my goals? Like, what impact do I want to leave on the world? What's my purpose? I always say I don't do something unless I have a purpose. And I feel like once you have purpose in this world and you're moving towards your goal and you know, and you be honest with yourself and you really tell it to yourself, like, you know, my journey is my journey. I'm gonna peak when I peak. I'm gonna climax when I climax. I'm gonna rise as I rise. You have to be in love with yourself enough to be in love with your journey. So I feel like adversity kind of becomes like this fun game of, oh, okay, so this is what we about to do. Okay, you have to learn how to always know, always be able to predict what's next, always be prepared for what's next. But you really have to live in that moment because everything's a lesson. I feel like every single thing that you go through is a lesson. So if you look at challenges and you look at things that aren't as easy, because let's be real, that's the real tea. Things that aren't that easy for us to deal with and to do, don't look at it as adversity. Look at it as like, you know, we about to like have fun doing this thing. I'm about to meet new people. I'm about to have new experiences. I can name something from everything that I swore I didn't want to do or didn't want to have to do or went through that I felt like was unfair or just was like BS because I didn't do anything to end up in that situation. There has been something else that I have wanted to do so bad, and I had to use one of those tools that I learned from that experience that I didn't want to be a part of or have anything to do with. So I feel like I overcome adversity by using the tools that it teaches me. Boom, there we go.
So I feel like labels just give people a language that they can speak from and understand and be able to categorize, because I mean, you have to know what salt is and you have to know what pepper is, I'm just saying. But I don't walk in the door and say, hi guys, my name is Jarel Jones with the X on the end and I'm gay. Like, I just I just show up as I am, and I don't necessarily announce it, but if someone asks for more understanding and I feel like it's respectful and it's what I want to give, then yeah, I'll be like, yeah, I'm gay, because that's the way that we can all understand and have the same understanding of what's going on in something. Now, what you take from gay and make it, if you choose to think about it as a stereotype, or if you choose to keep us as three-dimensional people and humanize us and understand it's just a sexuality, it just says who I sleep with. It has nothing to do with how I act, how I talk, how I walk, my characteristics, anything. It only has everything to do with to say I have sex with men. And you should probably only be asking me if I'm gay if you are trying to, you know, foreplay. No, get out, I'm a rapper. Don't ask me if I'm gay if you ain't trying to foreplay. My best advice to give to the youth is to don't be afraid to grow. Don't be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to get upset. Don't be afraid to get picked on. You know, so it happens to some of us. I don't think Rihanna or Beyonce had the best childhood ever. I'm sure everybody got picked on for something. And sometimes people don't get picked on in school. The people that's picking on people in school are getting picked on at home. So everybody got picked on. So don't be afraid of the things that are happening to you in your current life, because you will evolve, your situation will evolve. You can stand in the same spot for 30 years, I promise the weather will change. So don't be afraid of the change, embrace it. Every change that happens, even the changes that you have to make for yourself and have to let other people know, this is who I am. Don't be afraid of that change. Don't be afraid of becoming who you're meant to be. Don't be afraid of that person, because that's a bad bitch. You don't want to lose her. You don't want to suppress her too long that you don't hear her voice or his voice anymore. You don't want to do that, or their voice. You don't want to do that. You express yourself. That is like the biggest thing I can say. Express yourself. And don't be a bother to other people, and mind your own business and drink water. Yep. I would like to shout out my mother and father. First, I would like to shout out God. Thank you. You're a real one. I would like to shout out my stepmother, my sister, Erica. I'd like to shout out all of my best friends, Shavana, Diamond, Brianna, Crystal, Jazz, Kira. I'm not missing nobody. Boom. It's straight like that. Like, it's no questions asked. I want to thank so many childhood friends. Ivory, Nautica, so blessed. Shout out to her. She actually just called me. I had an episode air on MTV today, and she was like, bitch, I'm watching you right now. And she's like, I got a gig I'm about to go for, but I was just charging my phone, get my face beat. I'm like, hey girl. So shout out to Nautica. Shout out to Slate TV. Shout out to Sean Torrington. Shout out to Terry. Shout out to my aunt Twiggy. Shout out to Comme des Garçons. Shout out to Mojo Disco. Shout out to Ava Gray. Shout out to Just Be Hawk. Shout out to everybody. I want to give a big shout out to CODAY SAYSO, always coming at you with the lit content and this dope ass documentary. What's good? CODAY! Shout out to everybody that has booked me too. Shout out to you. Shout out to Big Frida. Shout out to the cast and crew of Pose. Every time I interview them, it is so much fun. They always are ready to talk. They want to talk about so much. Shout out to Tyrone. That's his Instagram, but Beyonce style. Shout out to Beyonce. Shout out to Rihanna. Shout out to